Hey everyone, this is Tom. I've put together this little replay video of my live lead generation demo. So if you got to the demo live, you can just click the pause button on the video, check out the details of the program below with all the features and the benefits, and what I think you'll find is rather a unique and very special offer where you can get started without putting $1 down. But if you didn't get to the demo live, I'd recommend that you have a look at this video first. The reason is pretty simple, and this is for you to figure out if my solo program is right for you or not. So the rest of this video explains a little bit about my background, not so important, but a lot about the sort of result you can expect if your business and you are a fit for the program and you decide to go ahead. It also goes into what I call the 3 immutable elements of marketing the invisible. So you'll have a deep understanding of what marketing methods work, if you're offering services or advice or even development software, and what doesn't work and why it doesn't work. So even if we don't end up working together, I'm pretty sure that that alone could save you years of frustration and disappointment trying to get marketing methods working that were never going to work in the first place. Also, you discover why I get all hot and sweaty about online meetings as a marketing medium. And that way, if you do decide to go ahead and join me on Leadsology Solo, then I'll be much more confident. And I think you'll be much more confident too that this is a really good idea for you. So if that sounds like a plan, then hold on just 1 second and I'll be right back with the replay. Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to Marketing the Invisible. This is a demonstration of my lead generation model that professional service providers and advisors are using to generate a weekly flow of high quality inbound new client inquiries right around the world, from London, Madrid, Berlin, New York, Los Angeles, and so on. I think I have independent professionals in 11 different time zones using this model to generate a weekly flow of leads. So let's have a look at our agenda and get into exactly how they're doing that. So first, cab off the ranks in terms of our agenda is going to be a little bit about, just to make sure that you're in the right place, who will benefit, a little bit about my background, then why listen to me. Great question. Do you want to make sure I know what I'm talking about? Then we'll have a look at the promise. So this is the end result or the benefit of what happens when you put a lead generation model into place like the one I'm about to show you. I'll provide you with some evidence of how well this works under Where's the Proof, and then we'll get into the first of 2 parts, really the heart and soul of the core of the presentation, the 3 immutable elements of marketing, and then the actual lead generation model itself, what we're doing to generate those leads. So the first of those 2 items, the 3 immutable elements, are really the 3 characteristics that any lead generation method that you're contemplating, 3 characteristics that that lead generation method must have in order for your lead generation to be effective and efficient. Then, as I said, we'll get into the actual how we're doing this in that last item on my screen right now. I'll also spend some time sharing about the lead generation solo program, and if you have an interest in that, then you can check that out towards the end of the presentation. So let's kick off with who will benefit. This is for independent professionals, people offering advice, service, or perhaps development software who are wanting a predictable weekly flow of high quality inbound new client inquiries. Now, there's actually quite a lot to unpack there, but predictable means that you control the flow of these leads. Weekly, I like that as a great KPI, because if you're getting high quality inquiries coming in every single week, then your business is going to be in a very good state of health. High quality, of course we want high quality because you don't want to be wasting your time or the person who's making the inquiry their time if they're not quite a fit, either by reason of budget or simply that their needs are not a fit for what you offer. And we want them inbound, so you don't have to go chasing any leads or spending money on advertising or going to, doing silly things like cold calling or networking meetings and so on. So if that fits a description of you, then you're in the right place. A little bit about my background. I'm multiple best-selling author on books to do with marketing the invisible. The first one being Leadsology, The Science of Being Demand, and then Leadsology, Marketing the Invisible. Bestsellers, I'm pleased to say. I've also shared international speaking platforms with the likes of, people that are much more famous than I am. People like Ivan Misner of BNI. Let's see, who else have we got? Rishi Koch from the 80-20 Principle, Marshall Goldsmith, Michael Gerber of the E-Myth, and so on. But probably none of that should would necessarily impress you. What I'd like to do, though, is introduce you to a couple of clients. Now, the clients' results, I think, is what's really important, not how many books I've written or where I've spoken, who I've spoken alongside. So this is Derek. Derek's based in South Africa, but he works a lot in the European and North American markets. Now, his target market are C-suite execs. These are some of the most time-poor and stressed people on the planet. If you've got your own business, then trust me, you and I don't know anything about the stress and the sheer pressure of time that these people are under. It's simply extraordinary. Here's what Derek said about the model. Thanks to the Leadsology model, I now have a full pipeline of new client inquiries from directors and C-suite execs of some of the world's biggest food corporations, including Coca-Cola, Mars, and Unilever. In fact, one of those inquiries I know was from the vice president of Coca-Cola Global. So you don't get much higher in the food chain, part of the pun, because these are food and beverage corporations, than that. So if you can generate inbound leads from that market, I would humbly suggest you could probably generate it from any single market in the world. If we want to spin the globe around and meet another client of mine on the other side of the world, Christina Force is a coach and trainer of commercial photographers. She's not teaching them how to take photos. She's teaching them how to turn their skills into a business. So SME or solopreneur market, here's what she said. Thanks to Tom Poland, I'm now generating 5 times the number of new clients than previously and in less time than I ever thought possible. So that's a little bit about my credentials, and hopefully you agree that this might be worth listening to. So what's the fuss all about? What's the promise? What's the sort of the benefit? What changes in your business when you put this model into place? Well, here's what changes. This is the way I sum it up. You wake up every Monday morning, and while sipping your coffee, you open your calendar and you smile as you see bookings from prospective ideal clients who want to know more about working with you. And it actually gets better. These bookings are inbound, so you haven't had to chase them at all. They're reaching out to you, and they know your fee range, and they have confirmed that they can afford you. This is prior to them booking a time to talk with you. They know how you work with your clients, and they like that, so that's not going to be an issue either when you speak with them. And they're really, probably more importantly than all three of the above put together, is they're actually hoping to confirm you have what they need. So good marketing, with good marketing, there's no need for convincing, there's no need for selling. It's really a matter of confirmation. Sales is what you have to do when your marketing sucks. So I have a sales-free zone, no selling techniques, no pressurized closes or anything like that. Just an offer put in front of the right person and have them reach out, hoping to confirm that you have what they need. So there we go. There's the benefit, the why listen to me, and the promise. What about the proof? Now, the reason I'm putting this next section in, and I feel kind of a bit of a dilemma, because on the one hand, I think if you're going to invest your time to listen to what I've got to say, it's really incumbent on me to provide some evidence that your time is going to be well invested. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, I don't like being one of those icky people that says, look how much money I've earned. So with that in mind, please forgive me just for a moment, but I do think that you need to know that this stuff works pretty jolly well. So I'm just I put up here, I've prepared this little screenshot. Now this is from our online booking scheduler, and this is for people who booked a time to reached out and booked a time to talk with me. You can see there's 72 people that booked a time to talk to me between May the 1st and July 31st. Now, as of time of the recording, that was the last 90-day period that I was marketing using the model I'm about to show you, and that my doors were open for new clients, which as of the time of recording right now, they're not. So that's why we've got that time period there, that 90-day period. Now, I chose a 90-day period because that, most people would agree, that's a trend. If you can sustain something, not just for a day or a week or even a month, but for 90 days, it shows there's something pretty solid behind this. So you've got 72 people. You can see here that the 72 people booked a time to talk with me about becoming a client. Now remember, they've reached out to me. I haven't had to chase them. They know how I work with my clients, and they're pretty happy with that. They've already confirmed that they can afford to work with me, and they're also hoping to confirm that working with me would be a good idea. Now, you can see that 71 of the 72 completed. So this is more than one every business day over this 90-day period in a quarter, of course. 72 bookings, 71 who showed up in a 66-day business period. So more than one per work day or per weekday. So just imagine if you had maybe, 2 per week. I mean, I had more than 5 per week, but if you had only 2 per week, what would happen to your business? These are high quality, inbound, very well qualified new client inquiries. Now, it's not enough just to have meetings with prospective new clients. You've got to be able to convert the right ones, those inquiries, into clients, right? And so without any selling whatsoever, simply having an adult conversation between me and the people making the inquiry, these were the results for that period of time. Here's a screenshot from the sales shopping cart, I should say, for the same period of time. And if you add that little lot up, the shopping cart's done it for you. It comes out just a smidgen under $100,000 of sales every month for each of the 3 months. Now, it actually gets better than that because you don't have to do a lot of the marketing that people have told you that you should do. So you don't have to do any cold calling. You don't have to pay anyone any affiliate fees. No product launches required. That's those big long emails, that build up and build up and build up over months and months and months, and then boom, the shopping cart's open for a week or so. None of that sort of stuff. You don't have to organize conference centers or workshops or seminars or anything like that. No complicated online funnels, including Facebook advertising or anything like that. In fact, no advertising fees whatsoever. No social media marketing. Because that doesn't work in terms of generating new clients anyway. You don't have to do any LinkedIn work whatsoever, no business networking meetings, no setting up banners at trade shows, and no direct mail. I mean, having therefore eliminated just about all the major traditionally recommended marketing methods, you're probably wondering, well, what is left? I mean, what do I actually do? And what you actually do, and this is the cool part of the system, is you just show up. You don't do any of the stuff on the left. You just show up for 2 types of meetings, in fact. One is you show up to share online with groups about your work. And by the time you do that, if you've worked with me, then you've got a presentation which is incredibly streamlined, adds a lot of value, you're delivering it in a highly engaged manner. So you're actually very confident and probably looking forward to sharing with those groups about your work. Number 2 is you're handling the new client inquiries that come about as a result of sharing once a week with a group of people about how you work with your clients. It's a very direct, very transparent, very honest value proposition. You're not offering a free training webinar or anything like that. You're just offering to share with people about how you work with your clients. Very simple, very direct, very honest, no sales required. But you do it in a smart manner. Okay. And then having presented, then you simply open up your calendar and have a look at the people who've booked a time to have a chat with you about becoming a client with all the criteria I mentioned above. They know how you work with your clients. They have confirmed they can afford to work with you and so on. So that's all you're really doing. And in fact, the way I recommend you do it, you don't even have to leave home. I mean, I'm sitting here literally right now in our house, which is on the sand next to the waves in Little Castaways Beach. So you can do all of this without leaving home. I currently have, 67 clients in 11 different time zones around the world. They've all come into my business via these little online meetings that I've been sharing with groups. And you've seen some of the results over a 90-day period of doing that. So let's go in and have a look at the guts of this presentation. There's 2 parts to it, really. One is the 3 immutable elements of MTI. Then I'll show you in very simple terms exactly how we're generating the leads, how we're running these meetings, and so on. And then if you want to stick around, I'll tell you more about my, I think, rather wonderful Leadsology solo program. And I'll almost guarantee you that the offer that I've got for you is something you've never, ever heard before, where you can actually get started for not even putting $1 down, and I'll work with you for the first month without you paying a cent. But anyway, more on that later. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's look at this 3 immutable elements of MTI. Now, I wrote this book called Marketing the Invisible. So I guess you could say, I'm the guy who wrote the book on how to market the invisible. And I am. So in the book, I go through the entire model, the magic, the market, the message, the mediums. But what I want to do now is give you an overview of the model and just kind of give you kind of an inside oil on what has to be present. What are the characteristics of any marketing method? If you are marketing what I call the invisible, this is service or advice or some form of development software. If you're marketing not a physical thing, but something that's invisible, what are the 3 characteristics that must be present with every marketing method? Otherwise, it will not be effective. And these might seem a little cryptic. Number 1 is you're not Hugh Jackman. Number 2 is every day you do what you want to do. And number 3 is never outsource your oxygen supply. But I'm going to explain each one to you. And then when we get to the actual demonstration, you will understand why I'm doing and why I'm recommending what I'm recommending. In other words, the principles behind the prescription. And the principles are always more important than the prescription. But I'm going to show you those. Here are the 3 principles. Number 1 is you're not Hugh Jackman. Now, there's Hugh Jackman, hunk that he is. This little story comes about because of a very foolish thing I did one morning having coffee with my wife in our home here and on the sand next to the waves at Little Castaways Beach. We're having a coffee, and I said to him, I'm interested. Who would you say is the world's most irresistible man? And, she looked at me and said, of course you are, Tom. I said, yes, of course. Bald, wrinkles. I mean, who couldn't resist that? No, I said, seriously, come on, give me some names. And so we talked a few names. I suggested a couple. She said, nah, not really. And then she came up with, and her eyes lit up, and it was like an explosion on her face. Oh, she said, I know, Hugh Jackman. He's the world's most irresistible man. So I said, well, fair enough. Okay. So I said, well, next question, second stupid question Tom asked. I said to my wife, I asked my wife, so let's just say there was a knock at the door right now, and you went, right from here, right now, you went over to the front door, you swung it open, and there was Hugh Jackman standing there. And he suddenly dropped to one knee, and he held up a small red velvet box, and he opened the lid, and there was this diamond ring, this massive diamond ring sparkling in the sun. And he looked you in the eyes, and he said to you, look, you don't know me, I'm sorry, but my name is Hugh Jackman. Would you make me the happiest man on earth? Would you run away with me and marry me and live with me for the rest of my life? I said to my wife, if that happened, what would you say to Hugh Jackman? And she looked at me and she kind of fluttered her eyelids like, women do sometimes when they're trying to soften you up. And she said, look, I love you, right? And I said, yes, I know you love me, and I think I know what you're going to say now. And she said, well, I'm sorry, but I'd run away with him. I mean, the definition of irresistible is that you can't resist. I'd run away with him. I'm sorry, she said. I said, look, don't apologize. I said, if there was a knock on the door and I was the one who walked over and I swung the door open and there was Hugh Jackman and he proposed to me, well, I'd probably run away as well. And I'm not even gay. He's that good. So what's that little story about Hugh Jackman knocking on our front door got to do with you and me and our marketing? Well, here's the moral of the Hugh Jackman story. You are not Hugh Jackman, and I'm not Hugh Jackman. At least we're not the commercial equivalent of Hugh Jackman, in that we do not have an offer that is so irresistible that we could simply propose to someone at first sight and say, would you like to talk about becoming a client? Because that's what people do when they go to business networking meetings. So effectively, that's what they do when they set up trade shows. That's what they do when they send out 10,000 direct mail letters. That's what they do when they buy a list and invite people to click here and book a free consult or whatever. So that's all practicing Hugh Jackman marketing, and it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is that when you're marketing advice services, marketing the invisible, it's actually far more like you are proposing marriage than it is, say, selling a washing machine. Because when you sell a washing machine, it's a commodity item, and if you like the salesperson or not, it's not so important. But when people are buying services or advice or long-term development software, you are actually asking them to enter into a relationship, not a marriage, but almost kind of like a business marriage. And you need to give them a date or 2 dates at least before you propose that you're going to work together. Okay, so that's number 1. Any single marketing method that does not allow your prospects to get to know you before you propose a meeting to talk about them becoming a client is not going to work, because it's Hugh Jackman marketing, and we are not the commercial equivalent of Hugh Jackman. That is immutable element of MTI number 1. Number 2, you'll see on the screen here a cat and a dog. Every day you do what you want to do. Every day my dog gets up and he doesn't meow, he barks, and the cat meows. Dogs are born to bark, cats are born to meow. Now, metaphorically speaking, what that's saying is that you were born to either be big picture person, create stuff, talk to people, or you were born to do the detailed stuff. And if you are like most entrepreneurs and you're big picture and you like doing deals and meeting with people and building stuff, then you're probably not the same person that enjoys looking at 5-year cash flow spreadsheets. So dogs are meant to bark and cats are meant to meow. How does that tie in with immutable element number 2? Okay, so every day you do what you want to do. Check in with me here, and then we'll come back to our friend, the dog and the cat. 2 statements. Check in, see if you think they're true. Statement number 1, every day you get up and you do what you want to do. True? I think you'll agree it's true. Statement number 2, some days you get up and do what you should do. but only on some days. But every day you get up and do what you want to do. Only on some days you get up and do what you should do. Now think about this. If someone suggests a marketing method and you think, yeah, I should really do that. Let's say someone says, you should set up Facebook ads. You should do 2 ads and split test them. And you should track the numbers on the clicks and the impressions and figure out the pay-per-click rate. And then you should kill off the loser. And then you should set up a landing page and drive track people to that landing page. 2 different titles and kill off the loser and do a new one and challenge the champion. And you should lead them then through 2 lots of autoresponders and 2 lots of this and 2 lots of that. And you're always killing off the loser and challenging the champion. And you should split test everything. And oh, man. And you're thinking, oh, boy, wow, it sounds really good. I mean, you just set up these ads and all these leads come in, right? Well, it doesn't kind of work like that anyway, but even if it did, it's cat work. It's detail. It requires persistence and consistent application to detail. So you probably wake up in the morning, you think, oh, I should probably do, Facebook ads or online funnels or something like that. Now, the moment you think should, then one of 3 things are going to happen with that marketing method. It doesn't matter if it's blogs or whatever it happens to be. One of 3 things that happen if you don't really want to do that. I mean, you don't genuinely want to do it. Number 1, and this is most likely, you'll never start. And you think about, online funnels and, maybe you're one of those people that was told it was a good idea for you and you thought, yeah, I should probably do that, but you haven't started. Okay, that's the first thing, the most likely thing that this happens. If there's a marketing method you don't want to do and you feel you should do, you'll probably never start. But if you do start, number 2, is you'll start it and stop it. And how many blog posts are there? How many websites with blog posts where there's like 5 posts and the last one was April 3 years ago, right? So people, if it's something they feel they should do to get leads, they'll start, but then they'll stop. And the third scenario is you will start and you will keep going, but you'll do it inconsistently. And anything you do inconsistently in terms of marketing is going to give you inconsistent results. So there are your 3 options. You never start, in which case you don't get any results from that. You start and stop, in which case you stop getting results from it. And you probably don't persist long enough anyway. Or you do it inconsistently, in which case you get inconsistent results. Moral of the story is this. Any single marketing method which is going to work for you has to be something that you want to do. And I would suggest, if you had a presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation, and you were so confident, and you just loved presenting it, and you knew that people loved hearing it and viewing it and experiencing it, and there was a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., you would wake up tomorrow morning and you knew there was an audience of people waiting for you. And you woke up in the morning, you're thinking, and you're just lying there in bed and you're going, okay, I've got the meeting at 10 a.m. There's a whole bunch of people who want to know about how I work with my clients because they're interested in becoming a client. You wouldn't think, oh, should I go to that meeting? I don't know if I should. You wouldn't even think about it. You would want to go to the meeting. So an online meeting, particularly, we don't even have to leave home, is something that I would suggest if the audience was there and you were confident about your presentation, that is something that you would want to do. All right, number 3, third immutable element of marketing. This one's a little bit simpler. If we put it nice and simply, leads to a business are like oxygen to a body. If you don't get oxygen in your body, you die. If you don't get leads in your business, it dies. Therefore, leads coming into your business is so vital, life-sustaining to your business, you should never outsource it to an agency. You must control the flow of leads in the same way that you're able to control the flow of oxygen into your body. So don't outsource your lead generation to a third-party agency. That's what I'm saying there. Because if they go belly up and the leads stop, then your business suffers. If they pollute the oxygen supply, metaphorically speaking, in other words, they give you poor quality leads, then your business suffers. So you want to always have lead generation in-house. That said, let's have a look at the model. So lead generation model, how does it actually work? How are we generating every single week, virtually every single week, a flow of high quality inbound new client inquiries? So this is how it's been done. First of all, let me give you a question, and I think you should by now know the answer to this. What would you say was the ultimate marketing medium? If you think of blogs and you think of podcasts, you think of Facebook ads, you think of public speaking, all the different ways you could generate leads, what would you say was the ultimate marketing medium for marketing the invisible based on what you've learnt so far? And yeah, you're right. It's the online meeting. And when you think about the online meeting, it utilizes the power of the oldest, most proven marketing method in the world, which is speaking to groups. And if you have any doubt about the power of speaking to groups, have a think about the number of followers Jesus Christ has, the number of followers Muhammad has, the number of followers Buddha has, because all those three people did initially was speak to groups of people. Now, have a look at how many clients they've got. Quite a few, right? So we know that speaking to groups of people work. And so we combine the oldest, most effective marketing method in the world with the newest, most modern marketing medium in the world, which is online meetings. So you combine, the internet. So you combine speaking to groups with the internet, you have online meetings. And I run these little meetings, pretty much every single week. There's me there at the top of the screen speaking to people. So I run these little video conference style meetings every single week because it helps me really stay close to what's happening in the marketplace, and lots of different reasons I run it. But I run those every week, and I also run a bigger webinar. So this is the ultimate marketing medium for Marketing Invisible. It's online meetings. It ticks all the boxes. It avoids Hugh Jackman marketing. It allows people to get to know you and spend some time with you before you give them an offer to meet with you about talking about becoming a client. It taps into what you want to do, not what you feel you should do. It has you in charge of the lead supply. It's time and cost efficient. It gives you global reach, which is extraordinary. Webcams on. Oh, by the way, time and cost efficient. You can literally run these for nothing. All you need is an internet connection, a PowerPoint presentation or some similar sort of software, an online meeting platform like Zoom, which you can have like 100 seats for nothing, right? So it's time and cost efficient. By golly, it is. Global reach, as I said, webcams on. If you do the smaller meetings, increases engagement very significantly. Your leads are 100% trackable. You know where everyone has come from. It's all digitally trackable, and pre and post events are 100% automated. You can literally run this system for $0 a month. Now that, from someone who's been doing marketing for around about 40 years, is nothing short of semi-miraculous. So we've got the medium sorted. It's online meetings, and yes, you've got to do it right. There's a bunch of things, I'll introduce you to some of those soon, but a bunch of things you need to do to make those meetings effective. But big question is, even with the most effective meeting in the world, the most effective presentation in the world, it's not going to be any good unless you've got audiences, right? So where do you get the audiences from? This is a very important part of the model. Now, you've probably heard of OPM, which is other people's money, or OPT, other people's time. I want to introduce you to OPN, other people's networks, because OPN can give you other people's networks. These are people who have email subscribers, amongst whom are your potential ideal clients. And this can give you a completely free and inexhaustible supply of new client inquiries. So what we do in our model is we identify and engage and convert other people's networks, people who have email lists of subscribers who are targeting the same target market with a complimentary service, and we engage them to the point where they send out email invitations to their list. We don't get their list. They send the email invitations out and say, hey, Tom's doing a webinar this month. You should get along to it because here's what you're going to learn all about. And I do one monthly big webinar. We get hundreds and hundreds of registrations once a month. And I do these little video conference, exactly the same content, big monthly webinar, small video conference. I run them systematically, routine, month in, month out, with the exception of the Christmas, New Year period where I'm going to be on holiday. And the odd other week I'm on holiday. And at the end of those meetings, people are given a link to book a time to talk with me about becoming a client. Now, there's a filtering system. They get directed to a page where they have to agree that they can afford my minimum fees and they understand what the meeting is about. It's not going to be a sales ambush, but it's also not going to be a free coaching session. It's going to be a conversation between two adults as to whether or not I have something that's a fit for them with their needs. So there's no selling required. There's no convincing required. It's just more a confirmation that I can help them with their lead generation needs. So you would set up exactly the same model, obviously with your service offering as opposed to what I do. But the model's the same. You'd be using other people's networks to drive interested prospects to one of your online meetings. And at the end of that, you would simply be offering them a time to reach out and talk with you about potentially becoming a client. They would do that through a dedicated web page where they read about what the deal is, what's going to happen when they meet with you, what's not going to happen, and they will confirm that they can afford to work with you prior to booking that time. So highly qualified leads. week in, week out. And this is why you get a flow of high quality leads. And this is the very simple model that allows me to generate close on 100,000 on average of new sales every single month. So let's have a look at this OPN. I mentioned to you before that this is completely free because we don't have to pay affiliate commissions, that there's an inexhaustible supply of leads, especially if you can deliver the value over the internet. That means you can deliver the value probably right across your whole region or country, or indeed, if you do it the way I do, literally around the world to anyone who's got an internet and that manages to speak the same language as I do. But the leads are also very high quality. And the reason they're high quality, if you think about this, in the days when I did Facebook advertising and all sorts of other stuff, people would maybe go to Facebook and they'd see my lead magnet in the corner of their eye and they go, oh, that looks kind of interesting. They click on it, download the special report, and they go to the funnel. I'm sure you know how it works in principle. So they weren't actually going out of their way to look for my stuff. And so the leads you get from Facebook ads are of a lower quality than the leads that I get opting in or registering for an online meeting like this. Because think about it. They've already opted into someone else's list, into someone else's network, and put the hand up, and in my case said they're interested in business growth of some sort, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's operations, whatever it happens to be. And now they're registering for my meeting. So that's basically a double opt-in, registering, flagging the fact that they are growth-orientated and interested in the sort of thing that I'm doing. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is this thing is kind of like getting into a combination safe. You know, there's a lot of value inside, a lot of gold inside, but you need to have the combination. Otherwise, it's very hard to get in. I say to people, this is a relatively simple system, and getting into a safe is simple as well if you have the right combination. It took me over 10 years to develop the system, by the way. But I'll give you three principles that'll help you get into understand how we're able to get into other people's networks without paying them any money. And why would they want to promote my online meetings or your online meetings? The first one is what's called the Prius factor. Now, the Toyota Prius is a hybrid car. As you know, it runs on battery, and when it can't, it kicks in the petrol engine. So there's actually kind of like two power sources in the one car, which is why it's called a hybrid. And when it launched, I think it was 96 or 97, something a long time ago now. Anyway, whenever it was, when it launched, they outsold the Honda equivalent, which launched about the same time, 10 cars to one. Toyota sold 10 Priuses for every Honda hybrid that Honda sold. Now, what was the difference? Why? Well, of course, marketers like me were fascinated to know why, because they were a similar quality car, they sold for a similar price, and essentially they had a similar value proposition, which was to be more environmentally friendly, lower fuel costs, and so on. Well, when the dust settled, what us marketers discovered is that people who were environmentally friendly, even more than wanting to be environmentally friendly, they wanted people to know that they were environmentally friendly. Now, that worked really well for the Prius because, as you can see by the shape of the car, it wasn't a conventional looking car. It had kind of this sloped back, and it was quite unique at the time. Kind of a bit of an ugly duckling sort of car. The sort of car you're either going to like the look of it or you're not going to like the look of it. So quite divisive in that regard. But the thing was this, it was so distinctive that if you were driving it, if you were pulling out of your driveway and the neighbors saw you, they would know that you cared about the environment. Whereas with the Honda, they simply got a Honda Accord, same chassis, same look, and they simply started a little red badge on the back that said hybrid. That was the only difference. So I could drive my Honda Accord out of the driveway. No one would know that I was environmentally friendly. Not good enough, apparently. And so the Prius factor, the principle to opening up the safe with other people's networks is that you've got to make that person look terrific in front of their network. That's principle number one. Principle number two is psychological reciprocity. Now, Eric Berne wrote this terrific book called Games People Play in the early 60s. And he was one of the forefathers of a psychology field called transactional analysis. Essentially what he said is, people like to keep the score even. If I'm walking down the street and Sue, my neighbor, is walking the other way towards me and she says, "Hi, Tom, how you doing?" And I can't remember Sue's name, and I'm probably going to go something like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And I'm going to feel absolutely stink because Sue remembered my name, and I could not reciprocate because I'd forgotten her name. So we like to keep the score even. If someone invites you to dinner, you say, "What can we bring?" They say, "Nothing, don't bring anything." You still bring something. Why? Because you want to reciprocate. So the second key into opening the vault of other people's networks is to do some really great stuff for that other person. By the way, without expectation of return, you just do some great stuff for them, because all other things being equal, when it comes to talking about them promoting your webinar, they are going to want to reciprocate. And even if they're not aware of a compelling need to reciprocate unconsciously, they will feel that like a magnet. So that's the second one, is psychological reciprocity. The third one is, when the time is right, you give that person who has this other email list of subscribers, so they'll open the vault, so to speak, and send emails out promoting your weekly or your monthly meeting. You give them the Godfather offer. Now, this comes from the movie The Godfather, which is the highest grossing box office movie of all time still, and it came out sometime in the late 60s, I think it was. And there's a scene there where someone is given an option. The Godfather essentially wants them to sign a contract, a release contract, in fact. And they're given the option. You can either put the ink from the pen on that paper, or we'll put a gun to your head and we'll put your brains on the paper. So that was like the Godfather offer. It's an offer that you can't say no to, right? I don't want you putting a gun to anyone's head, but what a Godfather offer has come to mean for me is that you make an offer to someone, and this is what good marketing does. Well, it doesn't matter if it's an OPN partner trying to get into their safe, it doesn't matter if it's an end user client. Good marketing makes offers that the right person simply can't say no to. It's such a good offer. So they are the three principles, and if you apply the Prius factor, psychological reciprocity, and at the right time, the coup de grace, the Godfather offer, then the safe of other people's networks will open to you, and you will have an inexhaustible free supply of high quality leads. Look, this system works so well. This is a screenshot from my new client inquiry page. You can see it reads, Tom has closed the doors for new clients while he works with existing clients, and is popular. So we have a waiting list. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Quality problem. I can't take any more clients on right now. Now, this is at the time of recording. So, what does it cost to run this thing? That, I'm just going to cover off some questions that a lot of people want to know. Okay, first of all, you can run the whole system for nothing. Literally. You've got an internet connection already, and you've got something like a PowerPoint. You hook up yourself up with something like Zoom, which you can have up to 100 people in a meeting for absolutely $0. You could literally run the system for zero. All you need is internet, a webcam. You do need a webcam for these small meetings, and PowerPoint. But you've probably got all these things already. Time, well, you need 8 hours a week for 8 weeks. If you follow my system, if you enroll for my program, we'll work together, and you're going to need 8 hours a week for 8 weeks to get it up and running. But hey, okay, that's 2 months away before you have the leads coming in. But pull your diary out and have a look at what you were doing exactly 2 months ago. Have a look at the people you met with. Have a look at the things you were doing. And I think you'll agree that 2 months ago, it's kind of like you just sneezed and suddenly you're here. So head down, bum up, give me 8 hours a week for 8 weeks. And you can start when you like. It doesn't have to be now, but you'll probably want to enroll now, even if you start a little bit later, because I give people 12 months to put this thing together, 12 months of support. But if you can give me 8 hours a week for 8 weeks, you'll have it up and running. If you're going to give me 4 hours a week, it'll take you 16 weeks, but then you'll have it up and running. You get the idea. Once it's up and running, this is like a jet plane taking off on the runway. Sure, it's a lot of effort to get it up to cruising altitude, but once it's up to cruising altitude, you only need 2 hours a week plus the time you would use or invest handling new client inquiries. Now, some people say, I understand the model. It's pretty good. We get other people to support my online meeting, and then I just pick up the new client. So why don't I just do this myself? And there's a reason. It has to do with the combination to the lock. Here are the 6 numbers you need to crack the OPN partner code. Here are items 7 to 14, which are the numbers you need in order to get a presentation to the point where people are compelled to reach out to talk with you about becoming a client. So your OPN, let's go back to that. 5 criteria for selecting the right host. You can't just go to the internet and find people and say to them, hey, can you promote my webinar? You're not going to get a response. There's a 3-part engagement sequence. There's a 3-step meeting sequence. Of course, then we invoke the Prius strategy, the psychological reciprocity, and the Godfather offer. That gets you people to promote your online meeting. But then you have to run the meeting. You've got to have the right title. Otherwise, you're not going to get cut through and people won't be motivated to attend. You've got to have the right promise. You've got to demonstrate proof, and there are lots of ways to do that. Even if you're only just starting a business, I can still show you how to demonstrate proof. We've got to do this in a way that's differentiated. We've got to have a demonstration so that rationally, logically, they can say, yes, that ticks all the boxes. We've got to deal with the competition. There are other options. We've got to deal with what's in their mind, which is risk. You'll see how I do that in a moment. And you've got to have an offer which is like a Godfather offer. Then you get to the consults. People actually reaching out and talk to you. You've got to make sure they're motivated to do that. You've got to make sure you've got filters in place. So you're only speaking to people that 90% of the people that you can actually help. And so they have to be pre-educated. You've got to have a conversion process. You've got to make sure they feel that you're carrying the risk and not they are carrying the risk. And so that brings me to the final offer. So the offer number 20 is different to the offer at number 14 and so on. So there are a lot of moving parts to this. When you know how to do it, it's like getting into that combination safe. It's actually quite simple, but figuring out the combination is not easy. Now, I'm telling you that because otherwise I would be doing you a grave disservice if you were to leave this demonstration and think you could do this on your own. Because it took me 11 years of frustration and disappointment, tens of thousands of dollars wasted to figure all this out. And I don't think either of us want to see you do that. Okay, so how do you get started? Well, let me just say this is who it's for. You've got to have something that makes a difference in people's business or their lives. It can't be a physical product. It's got to be a service or advice or some form of development software, perhaps. People like consultants, trainers, coaches, advisors, marketers of online courses, software developers. Suits them really well. If you want a lifetime supply of inbound new client inquiries virtually every week, then definitely it's for you. Got to be able to give me that 8 hours a week over 8 weeks to implement, or 4 hours over 16 weeks if that works for you better. Program is not for people who say sell physical products like houses, like realtors or alternative health therapists. Now, got nothing against alternative health therapists. My wife is a health therapist, an alternative health therapist, but it doesn't work for you. If you are one of those, prefer not to deal with you if you're an architect, or your firms hire out physical equipment. But if you're, management consultant, financial planner, trainer, coach, consultant, business, corporate trainer, etc., then absolutely it's for you. All right, so if you're interested in working with me on Solo, which is the name of the program, this is why I don't want you to trust me. Question: have you paid money to people who said, trust me, and it didn't work out? I'm sure the answer is yes. You know those people who said, look, trust me, give me your money, and I'll show you how you can generate clients. And you handed over your money, and 2 months later, all you had to show for it was an empty bank account balance. And, if I have an audience of people, it's a live audience, which this is not, this is just a recording, but if I did, and I said, put your hand up if you've ever done that. If you've listened to someone who said, trust me, give me your money and I'll show you how to generate clients. And then 2 months later, all you had to show for was an empty bank account balance, then I get about 97 out of every 100 hands go up. I say, keep your hands up if you've done that, say, 3 times. Most of the hands stay up. 5 times, most of the hands are still up. 7 times, most of the hands are still up. So I say, well, let's stop doing that because that's not working so well. So let me flip this around. This is how my offer works. If you and I agree it's a good idea for you to work together, for us to work together, then don't pay me anything. I'll meet with you personally, live and online, to help you. I'll give you complete access to my entire method from the very first moment you enroll. And if you think that I'm not delivering on my promise, if you think that I am delivering on my promise, then start paying me after 30 days. I mean, I still want to be paid, but you can pay me after 30 days. And you can cancel within the 30-day period if you don't think I'm the real oil. Gives you plenty of time to check it out. So what is Solo? What's Leadsology Solo? Well, first of all, like I said, if you enroll in Leadsology Solo, I'll show you how to do that in a moment, you get immediate access to all 27 implementation steps, all 27 combination twists and turns. You get my internationally famous persuasion sequence PowerPoint template, which shows you slide by slide, literally, how to put together a sequence of slides which will persuade the right people they should definitely be talking to you. 12-month support with my personally hosted live 90-minute monthly support sessions. You get me and my personal mobile phone number in case you get stuck. And I don't think you'll find too many people around the world offering courses like this that actually give you their personal phone number. We're also going to ship to you my latest 63,000 word bestseller, Marketing the Invisible, in paperback form. and you're going to get everything you need, all the templates for landing pages, emails, presentation. Now, bear in mind, you're going to get the keys to the whole vault, to the combination, to the safe, but I'm not just going to chuck a whole lot of stuff at you. It's going to be step by step. So if there's a template, you're only going to get one template. I'm going to say, put that one template up. And if it's an email, say a 3 email sequence we use for OPNs, you're going to just send those 3 emails. You're not going to send anything else. So it's a very prescriptive, very step-by-step program. Because I only work with people who are professionals marketing the invisible, I can be very prescriptive. And it makes it a lot easier and a lot more effective for you to implement. Now, how do you pay? Well, you've got investment options. You don't have to pay anything at all. That's the first thing. And secondly, you can pay after 30 days, provided you agree that you're getting what I'm saying you're going to be getting, and what you're getting is the same thing. Now, I understand you've probably bought courses before and you've probably been burnt, and maybe you bought and you didn't implement, or the person you bought from was nice but didn't really deliver and you felt bad about claiming the guarantee. So why is this different? Or maybe you bought before but you felt like a number after you paid. You were just kind of lost in a sea of people who bought the same course. So why is Solo different? First reason it's different is you pay me nothing and you get access to everything. And that's how confident I am that you'll think my stuff is terrific. Second reason is that you will implement, because I offer live support sessions, and my method is so, as I said before, it's so prescriptive that each step is actually really simple and relatively easy to take. I don't give you a whole lot of things. It's just step 1, do this, bang. Most of the online modules don't take more than 5 minutes to complete. So, but there's quite a few of them, 29 of them, so we put them together step by little step together, okay? So if you bought from someone before who was nice and they had a guarantee but you felt bad about claiming, you don't have to worry about that. Because if you don't think I'm the real deal, you can dive on into this thing, get full access from everything from the first moment, and you've got 30 days to figure it out, whether I can actually deliver on my promise or not. If you don't pay me. Easy peasy. And number 4, this is not a do-it-alone home study program. You get me live every month, and you get my mobile phone number in case you get stuck. So I care about you. It's easier and simpler to implement than most other programs, and I'm going to keep you focused and accountable through our regular meetings. So that's a bit why it's different. Now, show me the money, honey, okay? So, first of all, don't get a shock, but I have routinely charged one-on-one clients $18,000 to implement the system into their business. I've actually charged some enterprises a whole lot more than that, but let's just keep it simple. I'm going to ask you for $10,000, but don't press the stop button right now, okay, because it gets better. If you are okay with being in a group coaching program, I'm only going to ask you for $10,000, but you can pay just $495 a month over 6 months. You get first lot of $495 will come, you'll pay that after 30 days. So that's only $2,970 according to my calculator. You can pay me the balance of $7,030 after you've had your first $20,000 a month from Solo. Won't that be exciting? I mean, you had your first $20,000 a month, the first from many, I would suggest. Then you can simply pay me the balance out of that. It's an honor system. You implement at 8 hours a week, then your payments are going to be self-funding after 8 weeks. So really, you're only funding one payment of $495 from your own pocket. If that, and I'll show you how a way that you might not even have to pay for that one. So all you're committing to is $495 a month for 6 months, and you're not even starting that for 30 days. The rest is dependent on you implementing and generating $20,000 a month from Solo. If you don't achieve that, then you don't pay another cent. But if you do, of course, I'd kind of like to hear from you. So that's it. All you're committing to is $495 a month from 6 months, starting in 30 days. So that's going to give you 30 days to get cracking, start generating leads, and the whole system should be in place within 2 months. So, really by the time your second payment's coming around, it should be self-funding. Now, you might even be able to get the program without paying even a cent out of your own pocket, because what I'm going to do is I'm throwing in a bonus of my price stretching strategy. So I've got a workshop that I recorded. It's live. It was behind closed doors, private coaching clients only. And it's all about how to increase prices. If you're starting out, how to charge premium prices. So the first sale you get could pay for my whole program straight off. Or if you've got existing clients, I'm going to show you how to increase your clients' prices, I should say, overnight, and have your clients thanking you for doing so. All right, that's all of my price stretch strategies, which you get as a bonus in the Leadsology Solo program. So, how do you get started? Pretty simple. You're probably already on this page, but if you're not, you can go to www.grabsolo.com. If there's a whole page of text underneath this video, then you're probably in the right place. Just scroll down until you see the enrollment buttons, which gives you the investment options. So go to www.grabsolo.com if you're not already there. You can just select the investment option that suits your budget. As I said, you'll have to scroll down if you're already on this page, but there's nothing to pay right now, and you can take up to 7 months to pay your $495 over the 6 months. We'll send you the enrollment email within 30 minutes so you can validate the quality, assuming that you're enrolling during a business day our time. But probably by the time you get this, we might even have you hooked up, so it's automatic. You'll have lifetime access to the modules and 12-month support with the live coaching sessions. So even if you aren't ready to start now, you've got a holiday coming up, you're committed to another program for another month or two, that's okay. You're safe to enroll and take advantage of this offer. Keep price stretch strategies is my way of saying thank you for checking it out. So even if you go ahead and 20 days in, you decide that I'm not the real deal, which would be a shame, but if you do, then you can keep that as my way of saying, hey, thanks for checking it out. If you have any questions, feel free to email support@leadsology.guru, and we'll be sure and get back to you just as soon as possible.